Hi, Aston here from Now Spinning Magazine with another unboxing video, and this one is Magic Carpet Ride by Steppenwolf, the Dunhill ABC years from 1967 to 1971. Steppenwolf, Born to be Wild, Get Your Motor Running, Heavy Metal Thunder. When I was growing up, nearly every pub band did Born to be Wild as a cover version. It was the first time we heard that phrase, Heavy Metal Thunder, which ironically was about motorbikes, which I guess we should have known, and it wasn't about this new form of music that I was falling in love with. But it is a timeless song. And for those of you thinking, well, you know, Phil's from this vintage of Steppenwolf, I'm not. I actually grew up with glam to start with, so T-Rex, Slade, The Sweet, and then I moved on to rock bands like Status Quo, Deep Purple, Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, and I just look forwards as my trajectory into the world of collecting music and records and stuff. I didn't go backwards that often. Anything before 1970 I thought was too old, apart from a bit of Hendrix and a bit of Cream. I didn't really know much, but we all knew Born to be Wild by Steppenwolf. Now this box set gives me and many of us out there a chance to immerse ourselves in a band that was a big part of the story of hard rock and blues rock, and it's a chance to immerse ourselves, for me especially, a band that, apart from the live album and a few sprinkling of singles, I didn't really know that much about, and it's been a fantastic journey and I'm really enjoying it. So I'm going to dive straight in and show you what's in the box. Steppenwolf, Magic Carpet Ride, Dunhill, ABC years 1967 to 1971. 8 CDs, giving you a great overview of this classic band from the late 60s and early 70s. So let's have a look inside. It's a clamshell box, and here are the albums. So the first one, the debut 1968, is Steppenwolf. This includes the classics Born to be Wild and The Pusher, and it's wonderful guitar, Hammond organ driven rock. They'd had plenty of time to collate these tracks. This was their first album, so it's very strong, and of course the track Born to be Wild is timeless, and The Pusher is such a fantastic song as well. I mean, they've been playing that in their previous incarnation for quite a long time. The second album, called The Second, was, like for many bands of the time, rushed, because so many bands had to do 2 albums a year. They hadn't had really a lot of time. They were on the road, so there was no real time to kind of sit down and write. So it does feel a bit rushed, but typical of how these things roll out, it's sold by the bucket load and was a great success for them. It also included the track Magic Carpet Ride itself. All the CDs mirror the design of the album. Third up is At Your Birthday Party, which is the first one to come in a mini gatefold sleeve to mirror the actual original release. And again, this is a good solid record. The next one, called Early Steppenwolf, really is a recording of the previous incarnation before they became Steppenwolf, and it's from 1967. It's great they put this out, but it's very self-indulgent, especially The Pusher, which is 21 minutes and 36 seconds. The first 8 to 9 minutes is them really doing experimental noodling, which was very prevalent of the time. It's obviously not a bootleg. It came out, I remember seeing this in the shops when I was growing up. So it was an official recording and it was quite cheap, but it wouldn't have been the best place to start if you were trying to get into Steppenwolf. Especially for many people, I would say the first album was the first place to go. This, I think, comes across as a stopgap before they moved on to the next one, which was Monster. Now, this is a political album in respect because there's lots of references to Vietnam, avoiding the draft, etc. And that might make it sound dated to some of you. But I think it really now, looking back to the lens of time in 2021, it's a social document, about what was going on. And you've got to try and remember what it was like to be around making music in the US of A at that time. And this band had based themselves out in San Francisco. And this was really what, a lot of young people were worried about. So it's a social document, but it's fascinating. And it's a good album. Now we come to one of the lost live album classics of the 70s. You saw my video recently about Made in Japan, and know that for me that's one of the greatest live albums of all time. And a lot of people look into the 70s at Thin Lizzy, UFO, Blue Oyster Cult, the Allman Brothers, and they forget about this one, Steppenwolf Live, which was a double album. And as you can see here, Larry Byron has the best hat in rock and roll on this. And it's really, really good. Now, I had this already on CD, but the quality of the remastering is like light and shade. My old Steppenwolf CDs were going to be retired from immediate effect because the remastering on these is just absolutely fantastic. And this is a great live album that now sounds even better. We now move on to my favourite Steppenwolf album, which is 7. And before I bought this box set, I wasn't familiar with this album, but this to me is classic blues rock, great Hammond-driven songs, again a little gatefold sleeve, and absolutely fantastic. But another reason why, to me, this is essential is that it also includes Screaming Nighthog, which was a single that didn't appear on the album, but can be found, I think, Handle with Care, which is a compilation on Probe Records from the time. But this, with that track added, is absolutely fantastic. The next one, according to the booklet, suggests that they were running out of steam, which is for ladies only, which obviously has the most interesting rock star car in the gatefold you will probably ever see. But I do think this is also a great album, and I hope Esoteric and Cherry Red think about doing another box set for the second part of Steppenwolf's career, because I really, really like that. Okay, that brings us to the booklet. And again, Cherry Red have done an absolutely brilliant job on this. They've managed to talk to all the characters, the band, the producers, everyone who's still walking the earth has come forward to be involved. And it's a great read. It's a great reference book to know more about the band. And as I say lots of times, these box sets give you a chance to connect to not only the band, not only the music, but also the times, to have an insight, a window into the story of rock music. And having this, like this, really, really is so well put together. It's not rushed. And I know I say this a lot, but Cherry Red seem to be going from strength to strength in how they put these together. I've got box sets, as you can see in other parts of my videos, from Cherry Red and Esoteric over the years, but they seem to be getting better and better at putting this together, these kind of box sets. And they're doing really, really well. And a lot of rock fans just go for them as soon as they see them appear. So at the back you've got the track listings, and it goes through each album. I say the history is really good, and there's no skimping on any part of this. Go through each one there, and then finally the credits. And the mastering is 24-bit digital mastering from Digital Master Tapes by Paschal Byrne at the Audio Archiving Company. And Paschal Byrne has done an absolutely fantastic job. There is one last thing in the box, which is, if I can just get it out, is a small poster of press cuttings going through this period of Steppenwolf's history, which again is fascinating stuff. And there would have time when that kind of leaflet would be the only thing in the box. But this is now, and this is absolutely a great treasure trove of stuff for all Steppenwolf fans, or all fans of blues rock. And if you're just getting into this style of music, this is highly recommended. So that is Steppenwolf Magic Carpet Ride, an absolutely stupendous box set from Cherry Red and Esoteric Recordings. And the great thing about these, and especially for people like me who I didn't really know that much about them, apart from I bought their live album. You know, it's kind of a lost classic. You know, live albums seemed to kick in '72 in mainly Japan, didn't they? And everything then in the 1970s was the golden age of live albums, and the kind of things like Grand Funk Railroad's live album and Steppenwolf's live album were kind of seen as the dusty past. But now I've got this, I realise it's relevant and it's a long lost classic. But the other thing about box sets like this is that I feel part of the journey. Reading about from the contributions from the band themselves, the booklet, the way it's been put together, and then going through the albums and the little mini gatefold sleeves. I feel it's part of. I feel connected to the music, which is why I'm so passionate about collecting and promoting the physical item rather than just streaming this, which you could. You can stream Steppenwolf albums, but there's a deeper connection. I think this is well worth it, and I think Cherry Red Esoteric have done another stupendous job in bringing this to the marketplace, and I really hope there will be a volume 2, because it's interesting, as I said in going through the albums, that where they felt the wheels were coming off and they were kind of starting to decline, I actually feel that they were still climbing. The 7 and the For Ladies Only are great albums. Anyway, next time we're going to be looking at the Electric Prunes box set, also from Cherry Red and Esoteric. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Please ring that little bell. Visit the website. Visit us on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook. And I shall see you on my next video.